Have you ever had one of those dreams that was so strange, so vivid, that it just stuck with you? Well, imagine having one that people would still be talking about 2,600 years later. That's exactly what happened to the prophet Daniel. He had this cryptic, terrifying vision of monstrous beasts crawling out of the sea. And today, we're going to try and decode it. I was looking in my vision by night, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, different one from another. This is where it all kicks off. Not with a history lesson, but with this absolutely terrifying vision of these hybrid creatures, each one representing a massive world empire.
So what in the world are we looking at here? I mean, you've got a lion with eagle's wings, a bear that's all lopsided with ribs in its mouth, a leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings, and then this final beast that's just pure terror. What could these bizarre creatures possibly mean?
Well, to unlock this whole mystery, the interpretation we're exploring today offers a really fascinating idea. It argues that we're not actually looking at 4 totally separate monsters. Instead, they form one single cumulative entity, a beast chariot. And let me tell you, that one idea, it changes everything. Okay, so let's get into this. The whole argument is that this earthly beast chariot, these empires, is basically a twisted, corrupted copy of God's divine chariot throne that the prophet Ezekiel saw. I mean, just look at the parallels here on the screen. You've got the lion and eagle faces, the wings, the fiery, terrible appearance, even the man-like figure directing it, and the 10 horns. It's like we're seeing an earthly reflection of a heavenly reality. Now, to really get this, we need to know a key term, the oikomen. It's just a fancy word for the known inhabited world of these ancient empires. So, this viewpoint suggests that the rise and fall of these empires wasn't just random. No, it was meant to be a kind of guardian beast, a protective shell around God's people. But as you're about to see, that shell had a nasty habit of turning hostile. So, let's see how this whole thing builds. Each empire, each phase of this beast chariot, gave the people of Israel a new job to do. Under Babylon, they were meant to be a priestly witness. Under Persia, they were to become subordinate rulers. In the Greek Empire, their role was to spread their prophetic message. And finally, under Rome, well, that's when they would face the ultimate test. First up, we have Babylon, the lion with eagle's wings. This interpretation links the beast's transformation directly to the story of Babylon's most famous king, Nebuchadnezzar. You know the story. He gets arrogant, God humbles him, he goes mad for a while. The vision says the lion's wings were plucked, and it was given a man's heart. That's a perfect echo of Nebuchadnezzar's own story of being humbled and then converted. Okay, now this next part is really interesting. The second beast, Persia, is a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth. Most people think those ribs are 3 kingdoms that Persia conquered. But this view says nope, that's not it. The ribs aren't kingdoms. They're 3 key Jewish officials, Daniel, Mordecai, and Nehemiah, who were devoured or absorbed right into the highest levels of the Persian government to act as advisors. Then comes Greece, the 4-headed leopard. And its 4 wings? We're told they aren't just about how fast Alexander the Great conquered the world. They're about the incredible speed at which Jewish communities and their ideas were carried across the entire oikoumene. The Greek Empire, with its common language and roads, literally became the vehicle for this huge prophetic expansion. And that brings us to the final, terrifying phase of the beast chariot. This is a creature so awful, so completely different, that Daniel doesn't even give it an animal name. It's just the 4th beast. Rome. It's defined only by its tools of destruction, iron teeth and bronze claws. Now this beast has 10 horns, and the prophecy says the horns are 10 kings. According to this interpretation, we're not talking about symbolic rulers or anything like that. No, this is a specific historical lineup. The first 10 Roman emperors, starting with Julius Caesar and ending with Vespasian, the very emperor who was in power when Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD. But then, the vision throws in a twist. A new player pops up on the scene, right in the middle of those 10 horns. A little horn that rises up, takes out 3 of the others, and starts speaking great things. So the question is, what is this thing? So here's the crucial point. The little horn isn't seen as some single future Antichrist figure. In this view, it's a corporate body from the past. It's a symbol for the powerful Herodian dynasty. You know, the kings who ruled Judea for Rome and their allies in the Jewish leadership, who became the main enemies of Jesus in the early church. Think about how it's described. It has eyes like a man and a loud mouth. That's its political cleverness and its arrogant claims. It was different because it was Jewish, not Roman, working from within Judea. And it subdued 3 emperors, not with an army, but with persuasion, convincing Rome to give the Herods power. And from that position of power, it would make war on the saints, the early Christians. Right here, the vision just completely pivots. The camera zooms out from the clashes on Earth, and we're suddenly transported to a massive divine courtroom. Everything is about to be judged. Daniel sees the Ancient of Days sit on his throne. Books are opened. The court is in session. Now, this interpretation connects that incredible heavenly scene directly to the ascension of Jesus Christ. The moment he takes his throne in heaven is the moment judgment begins on that whole old world order, on all the beasts. Now, the prophecy gives this really famous and famously confusing timeline for how long the little horn gets to persecute the saints. A time, times, and half of a time. So instead of a literal 3.5 years way off in the future, this view sees it as a sequence of specific historical periods right there in the 1st century. And you can see right here how the author maps out that final half a time. It kicks off in AD 64, when Emperor Nero starts his brutal persecution of the Christians. Then, in AD 67, the Roman army surrounds Jerusalem, which completely yanks the power base out from under the little horn. And the whole period comes to its fiery conclusion in AD 70, with the total destruction of Jerusalem and its temple. So what's the verdict from the divine court? Well, the vision couldn't be clearer. And the saints, the exalted ones, will receive the kingdom, and they will possess the kingdom forever. The reign of the beasts is officially over. The persecuted are now the ones who inherit everything. And here it is, the final, incredible twist. A figure, like a son of man, rides the clouds to receive this everlasting kingdom. No, of course, that's Jesus. But this interpretation makes a crucial point. The title is also applied collectively. It's the saints themselves, united with their king, who together become the one like a son of man, a brand new 5th and final kingdom that will never, ever be destroyed. So this way of reading Daniel's vision turns it from a prediction of the distant future into a theological map of events that came to a head in the 1st century. It transforms these bizarre monsters into a structured story about judgment, persecution, and inheritance. And it leaves us with one last big question to chew on. What does it mean when history itself can be read as a coded message?